Hello, everybody. It's Kxo Radio AM 1230, and once again, we're here with Mickey Dale, voice of the Imperial Tigers, for our Imperial Valley CIF playoff recap and update of the games that are coming up. Hello, Mickey. Welcome back.
Hi, Kurt. Nice to be back. I wish we had a little bit better news, but all four of the Valley teams that played last Friday all went down in defeat. But maybe some better news this week as we have three Valley teams playing on Friday night, all at home. So we'll tell you about those as well.
Well, cool. You were particularly involved with the Imperial game, and that was a
Right?
very good game, Mickey.
It was. It really was. George and I were there at Granite Hills High School in El Cajon, where the Tigers took on the Christian High School Patriots. And although the Tigers were down 21-7 at the half, they would come back to within two, and that's how the game would end 28-26 in favor of the Patriots. After a scoreless first quarter, the eighth-seeded Patriots used a halfback option pass for the first score of the game. It went for 11 yards and gave them a 7-0 lead. But the number 9 Tigers came back to tie it up on the very next possession as Rashad Robinson powered his way 39 yards for the touchdown. That would make it 7-7. He would go on to run for just under 200 yards in the game and finished with 5 games at over 100 yards plus rushing in the 6 games he played in. And the one game that he didn't get the 100 yards, he got 98 against Brawley, so he was almost 6 for 6. Christian quarterback Caleb Runkle threw a pair of scoring passes. That would give the Patriots the 21-7 halftime lead, as we mentioned. But the Tigers came roaring back in the second half as Robinson scored his second touchdown of the night, his 10th of the season on a 2-yard blast in the third quarter. And that would be followed by a 15-yard touchdown pass from Jaden Ayala to Anthony Hellum Jr., just a freshman for Imperial. And it made it 21-20. The extra point, it appeared to us like it was partially blocked, and so it was not good. And the Patriots held on to a 21-20 lead after 3 quarters. The Patriots then used a third Runkle touchdown pass to make it 28-20. One play into the final quarter, but the Never Say Die Tigers kept coming back. They scored 3 minutes later on a 20-yard touchdown pass from Ayala, his 28th of the season, this time to Gio Robles, and the lead was cut to 28-26 Christian. The Tigers would need to go for 2 to tie it up. Unfortunately, that 2-point conversion was not good, and that's where it ended, 28-26 in favor of the Christian Patriots. But a memorable season for head coach David Shaw and his Tigers. They finished 9-2 on the season. That's the best record in Imperial High School since 2013. And with a large group of returners and a strong junior varsity and freshman teams, Imperial's football future looks bright. The 9-2 Patriots, they'll continue in quarterfinal play on Friday. They will be at University City facing the top-ranked Centurion. So that'll be interesting to see how that one goes. Elsewhere in Division I play.
Mickey, I had 2 takeaways. Imperial had a remarkable season, and they represented Imperial Valley wonderfully.
They sure did. They sure did. And with a good mix of veteran players like Jaden Ayala, as we mentioned, Mario Gaxiola at a receiver, the line with Max Alvarez leading the line. And then defensively, J.J. Jimenez, Darian Romo, just off the top of my head, a couple of players that were in on a great many tackles this year. There was a lot of veterans on the team that unfortunately we won't see next year as they graduate as seniors. But when you think of Darren Westo, a freshman at running back, Rashad Robinson, who is a junior this year, both those top running backs will be back next year. Anthony Hellum Jr. caught a touchdown pass the other night, and that was his second or third of the season. He's just a freshman. And some other freshmen receivers that are in the core. There's a lot to look forward to in the next season or two for Imperial. So, yeah, they represented well this year, going 9-2. Came within a couple of points and maybe extending that up into double figures as a win. But, well, what a great job they did this year, and they did. They represented Imperial very well.
And you and George represented them very well.
Well, thank you very much. George and I enjoy it. And the one thing I forgot from the other night, I forgot to take a jacket. And I didn't think it was going to be that awfully cold, but it was. But stay close to warm George, and he kept me warmed up through the game. We weren't having a problem. But, yeah, we got just about onto the freeway on the way heading towards Sealy. And I told George to look at him and said, I forgot to bring a jacket. We haven't used one all year long, so I didn't have a jacket. But once the game got going, I warmed up and we were ready to go.
That's very good. What else you got for us, Mickey?
Okay, well, Brawley was in Division One, and leading up into the last couple of weeks of the season, Cal Preps, which goes on record scores, the competition that is played, came up with a computer rating system, and up until the last couple of weeks of the season, Brawley was at the top of Division Two, which would have had a bye week and a home game. But their big victory over Central put them up into Division One, and they were in the lower part of it or the mid part of Division One, which then put them on the road. So they had a tough road to hoe as they went to number 7, Rancho Bernardo, and it was a close game all the way through. One team I don't think there was a lead more than 7 points in the whole game, but Brawley came out on the short end of a 28-27 game there. Very back and forth. The Broncos Brawley took the lead to start with. The Broncos tied it up and then just kind of went back and forth throughout the game. And the Wildcats came down to either getting an extra point and maybe going to overtime, but they had their momentum going. They went for an extra 2-point conversion, and they were not successful with that. Quarterback Matthew Gutierrez ran for a score, threw a pair of touchdowns to Damian Clemente, while Matthew Moreno scored the first touchdown of the game. And the IVL champions, who finished 9-2 on the season, will finish up in that spot. A great year up there for the Wildcats and Brawley. The 9-2 Broncos, they'll head up to Carlsbad in the quarterfinals. They'll face the second-rated Lancers there, and that's going to be a tough one for them. Meanwhile, the Kxo Bulldogs ran into a buzzsaw in their opening CIF game as they dropped a 33-6 decision to Montgomery in San Diego during Division 4 action. The 9-seeded Bulldogs were the victim of big plays by a speedy Aztec team, and the Bulldogs were down 13-0 at the half. And then the lone Bulldog score would come in the final quarter as junior Andre Lopez would get a 2-yard blast. And man, we can't talk enough about Andre Lopez. He came into IVL play and then really started kicking it up. I think he had 3 100-yard games for the Bulldogs, and then he scored the lone touchdown for Kxo in that game. They would finish 6-5 on the season, and that will be their third winning season in the last 4 years. So congratulations to them. Great job by the Bulldogs. And the 8-3 Aztecs, they will head to Ramona on Friday. They'll face the top-seeded Ramona Bulldogs. And the other Valley team that was in action was Vincent Memorial from the Desert League, and they lost a 23-12 decision to Westview. It was 9 points or 11 points, but it was actually closer than that. Robert Carranza scored on a 1-yard run early in the fourth quarter, and Patricio Carranza threw a 6-yard touchdown pass to Joel Cervantes. That pulled the 12-seeded Scots to a 20-12 halfway through the fourth quarter. So it was a tight score, just a one-possession game halfway through the final quarter, but a late field goal by Westview would end up getting them the victory, and the final again was 23-12. So the Wolverines, they're 5th seeded in Division 4, and they'll take their 4-7 record now to Mission Bay, who played Brawley earlier this year, and they'll face the 4th-seeded Buccaneers. Vincent Memorial ends their season on a winning note as far as the record, with a record of 6-5. So congratulations to them getting into the win column there. Now, there are 3 games. We had no games local last week, Kurt, as you know, but there are going to be 3 games this week, and one of them will be live on Kxo, and that is the top-seeded, top number 1 ranked, as you would want to put it, the Central Spartans. They'll be hosting number 8 Patrick Henry at Cal Jones Field in El Centro on Friday. The Patriots defeated 9th-seeded Otay Ranch 41-24 in the opening round last week. The Spartans are 7-3 on the season, while the City League Patriots are 7-4 on the season after a narrow victory over Otay Ranch last week. I think it said that earlier it was 41-24. I believe it's 22-21 in that one. And Carol Buckley and John Driffel will broadcast that game live on Kxo Radio, the Kxo YouTube channel, and KXORadio.com. The pregame on that will start at 6:45 p.m. California time. So I hope that Carol and John have dusted off their vocal cords for that one, Kurt. So we're looking forward to that game on Friday night.
Well, they must have, Mickey, because I heard this morning that they're going to start the pregame at 6:30. So those two must have stuff they want to talk about.
they've got a lot to talk about, so they want to go on a little bit early for that one, then I guess. So yeah, good idea for them to be able to get onto that one. And Patrick Henry, the Patriots are always an interesting team to play. The Tigers played them a couple of years ago, and I think Southwest also played them, and so it'll be interesting to see how that game turns out on Friday night between the Spartans and the Patriots. So I hope everybody can tune into that. A couple other games that are on tap Friday night. Meanwhile, the second seeded and undefeated 10-0 Holtville Vikings will host St. Augustine at Burger Field on Friday. The seventh seeded Saints shut out La Jolla Country Day 16-0 last Friday in the opening round of Division III action. And that marked their first win of the year. And that's a team that Brawley played and defeated this year as well. So it'll be interesting to see what the undefeated Holtville Vikings can do on Friday night against Mission Bay. And in Division 5 AA action, the top-seeded Calipatria Hornets will host fourth-seeded Maranatha Christian at Veterans Field on Friday. The Eagles opened CIF play with a convincing 45-6 win over Victory Christian Academy. The Hornets are 7-2 on the season. The Eagles are 8-3. So all three games are going to be pretty interesting. We hope that you tune into KXO at 6:30 now on Friday night for that Spartan and Patrick Henry game. So that'll be interesting to see who will go on into the next round of CIF action. And we'll recap those next week when we get together again.
Well, thanks, Mickey, and thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And yeah, we will be back next week because we're going to have some news.
Yeah, we will. We'll be recapping those three games and see how they went. Hopefully it's 3 victories that we can talk about next week. That's what we hope.
All right, everybody, this is KXO Radio AM 1230 with Mickey Dale. Once again for our high school football CIF playoff recap and update. Thanks for joining us.